Hello comrades, my name is Fritz and welcome back to F1 Challenge 99-02 and welcome to Monza, this 3.6 mile Cathedral of Speed. Today is set to be a good race. We are here in Italy at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. The first race here was held in 1921 and it's been held 86 times at this particular location ever since. The most wins by any driver here is Michael Schumacher with 5 for the Ferrari team, who have managed to secure 19 victories at this circuit in their illustrious Formula 1 history. And what a fantastic track it is. High speeds, long straights and short, slow speed chicanes designed to test suspension and handling. Not only that, high levels of grip are not necessary due to the lack of corners, so you can really gear your car for speed and expect some quite serious returns. I'm going to do a track guide here just after our outlap. We're going to just sidle up back to the start finish line, get the car all lined up for our first flying lap in this free practice session before we start actually heading into qualifying and then subsequently the race. Formula 1 has been away for a while on its kind of midsummer break, as have I. I have since returned as I've uploaded recently the Hockenheim race. I've got 2 more races before this goes up. I recorded those before the break and sort of didn't do anything with them, which is a bit unfortunate, so sorry about that. I was very busy at the time. And we've got a blue flag behind us, so it looks like we've got, as that Alexander Wirtz behind us, so we'll just slow down, let him by, and then we'll have a clear run onto the start-finish straight before we start our lap. Okay, the start-finish straight is very long. You can get up to about 190 miles an hour before you break into the Variante de Rettifilo, which is this. It has been changed since. Whoa, okay, yeah, that needs to be addressed. It has been changed since 2002, I believe. It is one simple right and then left. Currently, it used to be 2 little chicanes like that. Now, this track is loosely based off the old Monza circuit, a very long banked circuit. We actually pass under it at some point. I'll point out the bridge as we turn into the Variante della Roggia chicane, and then up into the first of the 2 Lesmos here. Braking at the 50, because we've scrubbed off a lot of speed out the chicane already, and head up into the second Lesmo, which is a bit faster. You can take a much tighter line, and as long as you don't flip the car around like that, we almost did there, which is at the back end just slightly got away from me. And then here's the bridge that passes under the old track. That's where the banking is. You can see the concrete barrier there. Braking into the Ascari chicane, named after the legendary Formula 1 driver Alberto Ascari, who had a big accident in Monaco during his career. He hit the hay bales at the harbour, catapulted into the water. Luckily they managed to get him out, and I think he ironically died in a civilian motorcar accident, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, into the Parabolica, this quite tricky corner in these 99 cars because of the lack of downforce that we actually have. We are onto the start finish straight once again. I'm aiming for a 1:31 lap time this practice session, hopefully a 1:30. And you can see there, because of our little spin out chicane, we are indeed a little bit slow. We're going to take this chicane a bit slower this time and see if we can't get it stopped. That's very nice, and the back end's sliding around here. Keep it tied into the second part of the Rettifilo, and then open the taps onto the Curva Grande. Stay towards the inside of the track, and then open it out into the Roggia and brake at the marker. Either, depending on how much brake pressure you're running, you either brake at the sector line or the 100-meter board. Doesn't really matter which, as long as you get the car stopped and you don't lock the wheels. Bit of a dab of the brakes into the first part of the Lesmo, and then running it out onto those painted curbs. Not too far or you will spin. Use the Astro. Getting the car a bit unbalanced on the brakes there. That was a bit scary. We actually managed to slide the car into a bit of a Fangio-esque 4-wheel drift under the old track. 1.7 seconds, nearly 2 seconds is the split time from our previous lap. Don't run over the curbs because you will spin. Get it straight and then bounce over the inside, run all the way to the white line, and then open the taps on the run towards the Parabolica. 2.79 seconds is the split time, almost 3 seconds. And yeah, we can shave off a good quantity of time here as we brake into the Parabolica. Probably not going to need to brake that much in future. Let's get on the power early. We had to slow down for Alexander Wirtz last time, didn't we? 127, 128, 129. We're not even at the grid yet. Let's keep our foot in it. 185, 186. Lap time is 132.98. We can go a little bit faster, I think, but just make sure that we are really struggling at the chicane here. Getting it sideways really kind of helps pivot the car into the chicane, so let's try and keep a controlled drift into there. We're going to try one more lap, and then we're going to head into qualifying, so we can't stay going around the track forever. I've got a 20-minute slot, and I have to entertain you in that time. So I've got to bang out these laps and see what we can do. Get the car nice and slowed down. Keep it balanced, there we go. Keep on the power. We're 0.2 of a second up on our previous lap. Dab of the brakes at the 50 board. A bit wide into there. Understeering off, and can we keep the car straight? We actually collided with the 150 board. That's not going to do us any good in future, although we do have the 50 board to time our braking off, so that should be just about okay. We probably lost about a second on that little excursion trackside, so let's see if we can't make that. I'm using a bit more curb at Ascari here and going very wide as a result. Maybe we try and change the geometry of that corner and see if we can't go a bit faster. Yeah, 0.2 of a second, so a net loss of 0.4 over that sector since we were 0.2 up before we had the hurdle off. Bit fast into Parabolica, the nose biting into the corner and letting the whole back end loose, which unsettles the car and limits the drive you can get off that Parabolica and onto the run into this pit straight here. 132 to beat. We aren't going to do that, unfortunately. So yeah, we're going to have another quick lap here. We've got one more lap of fuel, so we'll make use of that. Whoa, we're completely missing the braking point there into the Reservilio. That shouldn't have cost us too much time, although it might actually have gained us time, because usually we get a corner cutting warning coming up on our screen, but you know, it'll be a slightly cheaty lap time and we'll know that for certain. And yeah, we get 0.6 up because we cut the Retrovilio. Not bad at all, is it? I don't want to start doing that in the race, because then you start getting penalties and so forth. Yeah, that should conclude this practice session as we head into qualifying. And yeah, looks like we're going to go for a kind of top 10 finish in qualifying, and then maybe try to outbrake our opponents as we head into the race. Probably going to lose that 0.6 margin as we hurtle into Ascar. I'm going to try and aim to use more of the curb here, getting up on the AstroTurf a bit, and that's 1.4 seconds, so a further and quite legitimate 0.8 of a second gained into the second sector, so that I will take that indeed. Looks like we found a bit of a method here to taking that Ascari chicane in the end. Not entirely sure what we did through the Lesbos, but that seems to have gained us quite a bit of time in the first instance. Can we get into the 129s? It doesn't look like it. Into the 131s, 138. That is not too bad at all, and that's the end of our fuel run. So we're going to head back into the pit if we can get back there without running out of fuel in the first place, which will be quite an interesting thing to see. Nonetheless, 8 litres. Is that litres? I'm not sure. It might be litres. Yeah, you can't really go very far on 8 litres in a Formula 1 car. This massive 3-litre V10 engine shrieking away in the background as we break down into the Jello Roggio here. Yeah, we are 0.7 seconds down on our previous lap time, so that does show how much cutting the Reservilio aids your lap time, as we get a bit of a shimmy on up at the second Lesmo here, and then bouncing over the curb into Lesmo number 2. 4, are we going to make it back to the pit? It looks like it. I've turned the engine up to maximum for qualifying performance, so maybe we are going to run out here, braking into Ascari. Usually I'd kind of keep the manual gearbox on at this point, put it into a high gear and kind of cruise back to the pit lane, but I haven't had time to actually change the gearbox settings, so we might actually change the gearing at some point, because that could help us on the back straight, or indeed on this front straight here, as the fuel meter ticks down to 0. We might just make it into the pits. And yep, there goes the fuel, the engine cutting out. I don't think we've actually had that in this series, and we're becoming a bit of a liability here. The foot's flat down to the floor, and nothing is actually happening. We are going to be blocking the pit lane if we're not careful, and that is the end of our fuel run, unfortunately. Yep, the gearbox is in neutral. Right, well, That's our timed lap, and yeah, I'll see you in qualifying. And if we engage the launch control, hope Jarno Trulli gets off the line well, and lights out, away we go, and we are racing here at Monza. The AI like to ram you off the start, but they haven't done so here. Let's pile on the speed as we hurtle down towards turn 1. There's the 100 board, and there's Eddie Irvine. There's our teammate Ralf Schumacher. Let's not spin into that first chicane. Let's take it slowly. Irvine flying around the outside. Let's just skip that chicane altogether. Can we have Irvine in the braking zone? We're up to 8th position. And as we hurtle into the Rogier here, let's find the braking points just before the 100. There's Irvine twitching around. Let's go a bit wide. Oh god, we collected him there. That's a slightly cheating manoeuvre, but it looks like we're ahead of him at the apex of that first part of the chicane. Can we now take our teammate Ralf Schumacher? Let's brake for the second part of the Lesmo. Schumacher's being checked up by Barrichello ahead of him. So we do need to beat Rubens Barrichello if we are to maintain our spot in the championship. We do also need to beat Ralf Schumacher in this race if we are to hold on to our spot as well. I'm going to break into Ascari. Car getting a bit of a twitch on there. Can we take Schumacher by the end of this race, and indeed Barrichello? Irvine challenging for position on the run down towards the parabolic. It's one move in the braking zone. We've actually pushed him off the track. That's not great there. Right, Ralf Schumacher, I'm going to stick to the inside. Ralf Schumacher tracking him straight and true. Irvine has some quite serious speed on the front straight, so we do need to be wary of that. I'm going to stick to the right hand side of the track, just so we can see the brake boards as we hurtle towards the first chicane. Irvine jockeying for position. What can we do in the braking zone here? Let's not get too aggressive. Let's just clip the apex quite nicely, and that isn't too bad actually. Not too bad at all. 1.9 seconds the gap to Ralf Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello, two of our championship rivals. Rather annoyingly and rather coincidentally, just ahead of us in the pack. Brake at the 100 for the Rogier. Going a bit wide there. And that's a spin from us. That's a complete disaster. Irvine goes through, so does Villeneuve, and it looks like there's a gap between us and 10th place. I really do not want to finish any lower than this. I really need to beat Irvine in this race, and indeed those other two. Otherwise it looks like we are going to lose our fairly strong positioning in the World Drivers' Championship here, as the Williams goes for a very sideways run off the second Lesmo. Monza, a very tricky circuit for the Williams team, this in the real 1999 season, and indeed for the whole season actually. Williams did struggle quite a bit as we take slightly more curb than I would have liked. Whoa, running very wide off there, and we got a bit of a battle on our hands up ahead. Alexander Wurz and Jacques Villeneuve jockeying for position on the run down to the Parabolica. There's the 100 board, and can we take Wurz? Whoa, Wurz very slow off the Parabolica. That is outrageous stuff. He just brake checked straight into us. The steward's going to have another look at that one. And Wurz is in the pits. Not sure what's up with him. Throw a big PMT in that braking zone. That's hardly ideal. So far so bad actually. The race isn't going quite to plan. We have obviously improved on our qualifying position, but that's not really the point. We want to really try and get up there with the top 5 runners like we have been doing in the early part of the season. Unfortunately, luck isn't really swinging our way. That 3 out of 5. This this mid-season run for Zanardi and the Williams team not looking too promising, as we narrowly avoid spinning the car for a 3rd time this Grand Prix. And yeah, there we are, up onto lap 3 of the second Lesmo. We've got Jarno Trulli, who we started behind, is challenging us on the run down to the Ascari chicane. This could get interesting. Trulli, I don't think, has the speed, although he was faster than us in qualifying. I doubt he'll have kept the original setup. The AI like to change things around a bit, as we get a whole load of opposite lock there out of Ascari. Pulling a bit of a gap to Trulli. This is looking good. 3 laps of fuel. 3 laps of Monza already done, so we should be well in position to finish the race without any pit stops, like most of the time this season. as we hurtle out on towards the front straight. Once again, Villeneuve in the footwork art team, the car with the 2 liveries, is 5 seconds in, and Zonta is in the pits. I'm not sure what that was all about. I think he was out of the race, although we were, I imagine, ahead of him in the first place. There is our rival Villeneuve up ahead, and gonna have to cut that because that is there's no way we're gonna make that. Deniz in the Sauber. Yeah, I think that was a bit of a position change behind us. That is quite interesting. I'm not sure what happened. I think there was an engine failure, and braking very late into the Roger here. This is where there was that terrible accident involving Cathedral and the Jordan in 2002. No, it was 2000. That was it. Monza 2000. That was a huge accident, and yeah, not gone too well for the drivers there. I think a couple of drivers hit each other, and then there's a bit of a pile-up into that chicane. Such is Formula 1. 9th place here at Monza is looking like a likelihood as Deniz goes for the dive into Ascari. I can see him in my mirrors. Once again, all crossed up through Ascari. Bounce over that inside curve, get a bit of a twitch on there. Let's view that in the replay. That was a high-speed twitch. You can see Deniz looking for the inside and checking him up in the... Is that a Jordan? Yeah, that's a Jordan. Bit of a twitch there. That is a big moment for us. Using a bit too much curb than might be wise into the Ascari, and Deniz once again. We're going to play last the late breakers into the Parabolica, and there he is. That's the breaking point. That was a clean bit of racing there. Good use of space from Deniz. We can see that in the replay once again. Battle heating up between the Williams and the Sauber. There goes Deniz, and hard into the braking zone comes Zanardi and the Williams, shutting the door on him on the exit of the Parabolica. Deniz trying to switch back, less successful than it could have been because we were a bit faster than him on the exit. He's going to have another challenge on the front straight here, and using the limit. That's an off-track pass, I'm sure. That is utterly outrageous from Deniz, and braking last the late breakers once again. Is he going to use all of the curb? Yes, he is. I'm going to cut back here because that is just not kosher at all. We've got the slipstream into the Curva Grande. That's the last spot for 10th place. Heinz Frenzel in the Jordan. We had a bit of trouble with him at Silverstone. Is in 10th place, 2 seconds behind. We're going to run. What? Okay, well that was unexpected. We had that issue with Barrichello in the Jordan at Monaco, and wasn't expecting it. It just pops under the front of the car there and rolling on its roof. That he landed it on 2 wheels actually. That is a good landing. I applaud you, Pedro Diniz. Not the first time he's been on his roll bar. In 1999, he had a bit of a shunt at the Nürburgring when he broke his roll bar off, and they had to kind of pull him out of the car that year. Not good at all, and Frenson has actually taken that position, so that was a bit unfortunate from Diniz there. We will hold on to 9th place, although it looks like Diniz is actually out of the race, and our position indicated does say 10th. So from a strong 3rd place finish in Hockenheim to a less strong couple of races in the mid-season, we're going to cap it all off with our 9th place at Monza, 4 places up from our qualifying performance. A bit more of a handling circuit is coming up next with the Nürburgring, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, as we finish the Italian Grand Prix at a slightly choppy 183 miles an hour, now 184, that is the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed the series so far. Thank you for your continued support as Coulthard takes victory here at Monza, and I will see you in Germany once again for the European Grand Prix. My name is Fritz, and I will of course see you on the other side.